Okay, y'all. Y'all know I have all of my notes. So I have lots of notes. I took lots and lots of notes. Welcome. I'm sure if you're here, well, hopefully you've had a chance to watch the second episode of SWV and Xscape, Queens of R&B. Um, so before I even start on the review, let me just say that between the last episode, which was the first episode the prior Sunday, and then yesterday's episode, there have been lots of things that have happened. Child, Tamika dropped this super juicy YouTube video on her YouTube page, which Tamika, I did start following. So I will be following, all of your stories, and hopefully you will review all of your stuff the way that Kandi does with her Speak On It, which I love. Because first of all, I love your daughters. They're beautiful. And I feel like you are like the one member of Xscape where we haven't had an opportunity to get as close and personal with you as a person. And so I hope that you do let us into your life a little bit more on your YouTube page, because I actually really am starting to like you a lot. And I really enjoy seeing you. I think your relationship with your husband is great, and your daughters are gorgeous and beautiful, and they seem really talented. So I hope that you bring us into your life more. So I will be watching your YouTube channel. But anyway, so between last week and this week, she kind of dropped a bomb, like giving her side on what really happened with like the allegations with her sister stealing her royalties, how that all went down. And then Kandi also spoke to that on her Speak On It, which I did, have a chance to watch a little bit earlier while I was on the treadmill. And so, it seems like this is going to be long lasting. Like the issues that you are having, you guys have already said that you guys have carried it from the show into today. So I'm really sad to see that you guys are having so many deep rooted issues. It seems so much deeper than we even could have imagined. And I think each week we're getting more and more insight to that. But, kind of starting with this episode, looking at my notes. So the episode picks back up from where you guys left off last week. Last week, Mama G was like, get out. She was kicking, asking people to stop filming, and she kind of wanted you guys to get out once Tamika dropped the bomb about Tasha allegedly taking her royalties, which, we're going to say allegedly, but I believe it. I think I have really good discernment on people's body language. And even in the first episode, when they panned to Tasha and directly asked her in her confessional, they said, did you and Rocky take the money? No. It's like the way that she said it, you could tell that she was being dishonest. And then, everybody, I'm a firm believer. We know Kandi very, very well. And that's why, like, a lot of the things that she says, I usually believe Kandi because Kandi tends to be very, very honest. So if Kandi is saying this, and then why would Tiny and her mother, say something like this if it weren't true? I just feel like everyone's saying that you took her money, Tasha. And then I believe Tamika when she says that she told her mom, and that her mom is kind of like choosing to not believe it. And so, where they leave off, they pick right back up. They're outside. And I really felt for Tamika in that moment. You could just tell she was so hurt. You can see that she's been dealing with this her whole life. Fortunately, I don't feel growing up that I dealt with favoritism, but I have seen it with my nieces and nephews in different situations. I've seen it happen to other people, and I can only imagine the damage that has done to Tamika. It's probably affected her in every aspect of your life. And I'm seeing now, as an adult, I've been in therapy, how things that happen to you when you're young, it sets like the bar for your self-esteem, the things you allow, how you look at yourself, how you feel people view you. Everything that happens to you in your childhood affects you as an adult and in your adult relationships. So I'm sad to see, I don't know Tamika's relationship with her husband, but I'm sure the things that she felt growing up with her mom, that has probably shown up in her relationship. you know, and she seems like she has a solid relationship, but I'm sure there may have been times where she's had to deal with working through things with her husband because of how maybe she didn't feel loved by her mom. So she's talking to her mom, and her mom's kind of like, you know, that didn't happen, and da da da. You know, she's fronting, and she's kind of like getting at her for saying what she said, and you could tell that Tamika, she probably just blurted that out from frustration. I don't think she planned on saying that. I think that just kind of came out. So, and then Tamika's mom like looks over and she can kind of see that the cameras are still rolling, and she's like, cut the cameras, you know, get out. So, you know, the scene ends with Tamika. She's in a car with her daughter Ocean. They're driving off and she's crying, and she's just basically was like, look, I didn't even tell my daughter. My daughter didn't know this. My husband didn't know this. You know, it seems like she has been in protection mode of her sister her whole life, to a fault. And it seems like now, you know, she's just fed up. People can only take so much, and it really seems like Tamika is at her breaking point with all of this. You know, so that scene ends with her crying with her daughter in the car, and I just felt for her in that moment. Tamika, you're beautiful, and you can. I didn't know how well you could sing until this show, so I think this show has done. I mean, I knew you could sing, but I didn't really know. Like, you're one of the strongest singers in the group, so this show has really done a great job of showing that you're fun-loving and that you do have a great voice. And like Kandi has said, like, I don't know you, but I'm proud to see you kind of sticking up for yourself, and, you know, falling into your becoming your own woman and kind of doing what's right. And I know, because a lot of people say blood is thicker than water, but that's not always true. And, you know, when it becomes a detriment to you and to your sanity, you know, and even if it's a family member, sometimes you have to kind of cut ties with them, or you kind of have to put them in a certain, you know, light and like leave them there, you know. And so, sorry, it's sirens out here. But yeah, so I think that you're at that place with your sister where, you know, you just feel like, okay, I've taken enough and I've stuck up for you enough, and I'm going to do what's right for me. So that scene ended there. Yeah, we talked about, you know, how your mom was still denying. You're like, you know what happened. So, you know, you and your mom definitely talked about that. She clearly knew, and, you know, she just didn't want to, you know, reveal that and put Tasha out there on TV. And so then Tiny and Tamika, they all meet up at Kandi's candy factory. It seemed like Kandi has everything there. It seemed like she has like living space there. She has a studio there. She got a little kitchen there. Like, I like to, you know, I think it's really cool that she's able to bring people to her like studio and her meeting space. And it just seems like a one-stop shop for all the stuff Kandi does. And so you guys are, you know, kind of catching up and talking about, you know, what happened. And as soon as you get there, Tamika gets there after Tiny, and Kandi and Tamika are like, well, where's Tasha? And Tamika's like, child, I don't know. I figured she wasn't gonna come because of what happened, you know, the night before. So of course, naturally, Kandi and Tiny are like, well, what happened? And they're like, well, you know, did it go okay? And Tamika's, you know, naturally's like, nope. You know, it didn't go well. It kind of was a disaster. So then, you know, she's like, well, you know what, guys? I ended up actually bringing up the incident about, you know, her stealing the money. And so they kind of pan to Tiny and to Kandi, and they're both like, oh shit. Like, they're like, what? And so she's like, yeah. Sidebar, let me just say this. And I meant to say this for the first episode. I didn't realize until this episode that the incident, I was thinking that maybe this was something that like happened recently. They said it happened, you know, she's saying it happened when she was pregnant with her last child and before the group even got back together. So that just goes back to what Tamika has been saying. Like, girl, I have been hiding your secrets, all the dirt, the stuff that you've been doing. I've been like brushing that aside, and I've been taking up for you and not even telling nobody, not even my husband. My husband doesn't even know. And we share finances and we share a home and split bills. And I have been taking up for you. So that was interesting. I did not know that that was before, they had even gotten back together. Now, let me just say this, because I have siblings too. And I'm trying to put myself in Tamika's place where, like, what would I do if one of my siblings stole upwards of $30,000? And I'm going to just say this. I would have, let's just say if it was my sister, I'll make up a name and say her name's Glenda. Glenda, you have 30 days to give me my $30,000 back or I'm pressing charges. Simple as that. That's the black ass bottom line. Like, you're not going to take money from me and just think that it's okay. So Tasha, you really need to be like, I would never do that to anybody, but had that been me, I would have immediately did whatever I needed to do. And even when y'all started doing shows, you have had so much time to pay her back. Y'all have been making money. Why have you not made your sister whole? Why have you not paid her, not even so that she won't say anything, but because that's the right thing to do? Bitch, you took that money. You took that money, allegedly. I would have given my brother or sister 30 days for Glenda to come up with the money. And if she didn't, I would have definitely pressed charges on that ass. So, and I was thinking about that last night, and I was like, she's so lucky. Like, Tasha would have been clink clink underneath the jail, because like you're not gonna do that. Like, that's so foul. And the fact that you're walking around day to day and you haven't given me my money back, bitch, and you got Chanel purses and YSL, them Chanel purses be $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. If you don't go sell them purses and give me my $30,000 back and stop playing with me. So I just had to say that because I didn't realize the sequence of events. For some reason, so she's really been holding this in, because I just kind of thought, okay, well, this must be something that was like, the incident happened in Vegas where they got into it about Tasha leaving them out of their dressing room. And then I was just figuring, okay, well, this must have happened after that. But this was years ago. So Tasha, give her money back and stop playing. And Tamika, I would definitely, I'm sorry, because she stole from you. Like, you stole from me like that? Like, Tamika, handle your business, because and then she has the audacity to be blocking you and changing her number and acting like you did something. Man, please. So anyway, so Tasha is they're kind of panning back and forth from scenes. So she's talking to Rocky, which, okay, let me say this. I do not like Tasha. And I'm trying to, as I'm watching this, to kind of be objective about it and not like put my emotions into this as I'm watching. But I don't like Tasha, and I definitely don't like her husband. Over the years, we've heard so many bad things about him. So I'm trying to like put those things aside as I'm watching this. But like, I cringe every time they have a scene together, because it's like they've conjured up a plan, as we'll get to that later, because we'll just talk about the scene in the confessional with Tasha and her husband later. But you could just tell that their scenes are not genuine. Like, they plot and plan and everything, and I can't. But anyway, so she's talking to him about what happened. Of course, she's, oh, woe is me. And she's so distraught and depressed. And she's so sad. And she's like, how could she do this to me? She's lying. And then Rocky gonna have the nerve to say, well, how my name come up? Big bozo, because you are the mastermind with all of this. You've been shady and stealing money from Xscape, allegedly, for years. And that's why they got rid of you as the manager. Like, come on. You know why your name came up, because you probably allegedly gave Tasha the idea to take the money. That's why your name came up. And because you guys move as a unit and you guys do everything together. So that's exactly why your name come up. And you, I guarantee, were the person who planned that out. So that's why your name came up. So that was really annoying to see him have the audacity to say that. Like, you know why your names came up. You know how people feel about you. And if Tamika's tired of protecting Tasha, she's definitely over you. So that's why your name came up. So, you know, they have a scene where they're talking about, oh, I cannot believe. And then her husband says something like, what's the truth doesn't need to be proven, or whatever he said, basically saying, like, alluding to the truth is that they didn't take the money, so they don't need to speak on it. And then he says something along the lines of, you know, basically kind of almost threatening Tamika, like, you better keep my name out your mouth, because once you say someone's name, you got to handle what comes with it. So what you gonna do, Rocky? You better be careful. Y'all really should be kissing Tamika's ass, because y'all know y'all took that girl's money. So for you to even make a comment like that, Tamika, I hope, and I know you probably don't want to do this because you don't want to see your sister in black and white stripes, but I hope you're rethinking pressing charges, because it's just like, it's just the nerve of both of them. And like, Rocky, shut up. Like, you know you were in the wrong. What are you talking about? Like, don't throw out threats like the girl doesn't have every reason to say your name. She said your name because of what y'all did, you know. And I don't know what, I'm assuming maybe Rocky's probably an executive or a manager or whatever, but whoever, if I had a business relationship with him, I would cut ties and run the other way so fast, because he just, I know shady when I see it. And I'll just leave it at that. So then they go back to the scene where Tamika and Tiny and Kandi are together. And, you know, Tamika's crying and they're kind of consoling her. And then Tamika plays a voicemail from her mom. Her mama threatened her and pretty much said, look, in so many words, if you do anything to Tasha, I'm gonna kick your tail, I think is the words that she used in the voicemail. And first of all, I don't know if there's history of like the sisters getting into it physically. I'm going to assume that is true for her to even say something like that, because why would you assume that she would do anything to her? I don't know if she meant physically or if she meant like if you press charges. I'm not sure where she was going with that. But I'm going to make an inference that she and Tasha have probably butt heads, probably physically in the past. And it's like, their mom knows what Tasha did. I don't know why she's picking sides. I mean, again, the favoritism is just clear as day. It's so blatant and just blaring in your face how much she favors Tasha over Tamika. Because why would she even co-sign Tasha doing that? Why would you even, I don't care, whatever. Everybody's going through their own things. You don't know what Tamika's financial situation was. She said she told you she was pregnant. Her daughter was in school. You don't think she could have used that money? Xscape just now is getting back kind of relevant in the last few years. I mean, their music is timeless, but as far as them touring and really making money, aside from Tiny and Kandi, the sisters were not doing that. I don't know if they've invested or what they were doing in the midst of that, but I'm going to assume that they were living like an average American person prior to her connecting back with Xscape. So $30,000 is a lot of money. And I hope that Tamika and her mom specifically, I think that before she does any therapy, if she's considering therapy, her and her mom should go to therapy together, because I think that it's nice to have someone who can mediate, who is not biased. They have no qualms either way. They just want to hear you and give you solutions to make improvements in the future. And I think that it would be nice for someone to mediate that conversation with her and her mom, because her mom needs to really understand the way that her actions have affected her, and it's still affecting her. You can tell, because Tamika breaks down every time she talks about it. So it's sad to see that. And then Kandi, she says the same thing, like, this has been going on for years, and that she's definitely proud of Tamika for finally sticking up for herself and finally doing what's right and calling her sister out on things that need to be exposed. Sometimes you got to expose the truth for things to get better. And hopefully Tasha reflects on this when she sees all this, and she makes improvements in her behavior. I don't know, sometimes people, when they get older, they don't want to make changes, but I do hope that Tasha does that, because she has a lot of growing to do. But you know what? She probably won't do it because she's got that husband that is vindictive and dangerous and sneaky, and he is at the root of a lot of this. Granted, Tasha has her own mind, but her husband facilitates a lot of this, and brings upon a lot of this stuff that causes, turmoil between the groups. So, yeah. And then Rocky asked Tasha if she thinks is up next for the group. And she says she doesn't know. Oh, please. And he's acting. I think it's funny, and we'll see. There's a pattern of like Rocky, like asking her questions that they've already talked about, and it's like, Rocky, you already know what time it is, but you're trying to act innocent, like, oh no, he's kind of like trying to separate himself, like, oh, I didn't know about this, and I didn't know you were doing this, and I didn't know you didn't talk to the group, and I didn't have nothing to do with the money being stolen. It's like that friend that you have, and there's really no hope for Tasha because she's been with this man for so long, but it's like that friend that that has a really trash boyfriend, and you're like, girl, he is terrible. You need to like let him go, get away from him, and she just won't listen. But you're kind of seeing everything that's going on. I feel like the viewers, we're that friend, and we like want to shake Tasha, and it's like, girl, your man is terrible. But again, you're in so deep at this point. Y'all have a kid together. You have a son, which your son seems amazing. You guys seem like you did something right with him. He's gone to college and did well and played basketball. So at least that's one good thing. But girl, Rocky is the total manipulator, and I'll just leave it at that. And then Tasha says she doesn't know if she still wants to work with the group. Tasha, let me say this, and I'm sure I'm going to end up saying this over and over. We don't want your solo album. We just don't want it. Now, granted, you're doing gospel, and, I do listen to some gospel music. I'm not huge into the genre, but Tasha, we don't want your solo album. Like, we're not, I don't know, and I know, what's funny? I know Kandi wants to say this to her. I know Kandi wants to be like, girl, you need to just stick with us, because in the funny part is she's gonna come back groveling because the solo thing not gonna work. Especially after people, how you gonna be a gospel singer when you're supposed to be singing about the word and the Lord and really uplifting people, but in your private life, which is on TV now, you're living this way, and then it's been exposed that you stolen this money from your sister. I'm not listening to no gospel singer that I know is doing stuff like that in their private life. I'm not listening to it. I'm just saying. So Tasha, you might want to rethink this before the other three really don't want to have anything to do with you, because you have a beautiful voice. I will not take that from you. You can definitely sing. You have a beautiful voice. But everyone that has a beautiful voice, unfortunately, does not a solo singer make. Like, it's just not. You're trying to make fetch happen, and it's just not going to happen. So, all right. And so, so then we go, things kind of lighten up. It's funny. I watched Kandi speak on it, and she was like laughing. She was like, all the scenes with Xscape is like, drama and fighting and crying and this, and then you pan to all the SWV scenes, and it's like, like all the beautiful scenes with everybody happy and getting along. And so, but anyway, they go to they have a scene with Lily, and I didn't know that she had siblings, and I did watch the last show with SWV and Salt and Pepper, and that was a few years ago. I didn't remember about her having siblings or not, but it's nice to see her with her sister. It's her oldest sister, and she kind of talks about, which I can relate to, losing her parents, and then she, talks about, how her sister really stepped up and kind of took that motherly role, and while she's cooking breakfast for her sister, and then there's like a can of peaches, and she's like, this reminds me of mommy. And I just like to listen to Lily talk. I love her accent. I have a lot of friends from New York, and so it's just, I love the way she talks and the way she phrases things, and she just seems like a fun time girl. So, it's nice to see her and get to know a little bit more about her sister. And there was a little part where they showed her kids. I did know she has a daughter and a son, because they filmed a lot with her when she had the show with Salt and Pepper, when SWV had that show. So it's nice to see, dig a little bit deeper into her life. And so after that, then Tamika meets up with Taj, and when they meet up, Tamika's like, I want all the snacks. Give me all the pies and the cakes. And then Taj is like, oh, I just take water. I'm on a diet or whatever. And so they sit down and they're talking. And I really enjoy, Taj is always like the motherly person who always gives good advice. She definitely seems like that person you would go to if you need advice or you need direction on something. Like, she's just like so soothing, and so just, she seems like she's so caring for everyone. And, again, Tamika kind of breaks down and she's talking about, what happened with her mom and her sister. And, of course, Taj is just like, oh my God, that's so unfortunate. And, Taj even says, like, it's just very sad to see the favoritism and that you experienced that. And, she encourages Tamika to, try to make it right with your mom. We know how important our relationship is with our mom. And so, really try to make that right, even though it's not, I don't necessarily think that how your mom is conducting her is right. And it's not, but, out of respect for your mom, definitely try to make that situation right. And hopefully things will start to fall into place with your sister. So, I definitely agreed with that. But I want to emphasize, it's important for her to make it right with her mom, because her mom needs to understand that she has to remain neutral. There's never going to be a situation where Tamika's mom is going to be able to give good advice to either one of them on any situation they're involved in if she favors one over the other. It's just never going to be able to work. So, and I'm sure her mom is not happy about how she's being portrayed if she's watching the show. If she's watching the show, I'm sure, her mom is not happy about her portrayal, because she's not coming out favorable. And I don't, I'm gonna try to just leave that alone, because I never want to say anything bad about anybody's mom. But your mom she's not coming off godly. She said that in the voicemail that she left Tamika. We're godly, we love the Lord and that, but you're not acting like that, because the Lord would not be happy with the way that you are treating Tamika. I'll just leave that there. So then they go to the scene where Tiny, they're at Tiny's lake house, and Tiny loved blending up some drinks, child. She's in there blending up some type of thing that I probably would love, because I love a mimosa, and it's like dreamsicle with champagne in it, which sounded delightful. So she's making drinks, and at Tiny's lake house, she has all the huge houses. So they're at her lake house, and then Tamika gets there, then Kandi gets there, and then voila, surprisingly, in comes Tasha. All stink. She comes in, of course, she barely speaks to anybody, and it's evident that she's kind of talking to Tiny. She's definitely not talking to Tamika or Kandi, but she's kind of talking to Tiny, which I'm assuming Tiny probably is the reason why she came over. And so she comes in, she doesn't give anybody a hug, and she's kind of like, well, the girls are in the kitchen. And she's like, well, I'll just go into the living room. So she walks off. Tasha, your attitude sucks. Like, it sucks. I don't know if you forgot that you're on TV, or maybe you don't care. I don't know. But, like, you at least kind of try to pretend like you got a good attitude. Like, I don't think I've seen you with a good attitude once in either of these episodes. Like, your attitude is just terrible. So, and again, I'm not listening to a gospel artist that acts that way. So we're not checking for you anyway. And then just to see how you're acting, I'm not listening to that. So anyway, the girls go into the living room at Tiny's house. And then Kandi's like, she asks Tasha, or someone says, where should we start? And then Kandi says, well, Tasha, I think we should start with you. Like, you know, what do you have on your mind? What do you want to say? And then Tasha's like, well, I don't really know where to start, you guys. And it's like, girl, yes, you do. First of all, you got a whole record deal that you're not telling nobody about, but whatever. Let me wait to get to that. You have a lot to talk about. You have an attitude. You had an attitude when you guys went to brunch with SWV. You got an attitude with your sister. You got an attitude. Like, talk about it. You can't move forward. That's y'all's problem. Like, again, you guys are putting band-aids on bullet wounds. Work through this shit. Like, you need to talk about it. And so, then Tiny's like, well, let's talk about management. And she talks about, okay, for Versus, since Versus went so well, because that Versus was banging. And she's like, look, with this new management, because I think Mona Scott was managing them, and then for whatever reason that ended, and then they got new management. And she's like, with how well we did in Versus, like, we should have the deals rolling in, and that's not happening. So we need to kind of talk about management. And so then Kandi's like, well, look, I think that we need to revisit possibly getting new management that we all agree on and that we all want. And so she's kind of like, well, Tasha, what do you think? And Tasha's like, I don't know. I'm going to pray about it. And it's like, why did you come? You could have stayed at home. Why did you eat? If you're going to act like this, why did you come? Because we know that you're probably feeling residual feelings about what happened with you and your sister. But if you're not there to be solution minded, then what was the point of coming? Like, you could act stink at your house with your husband. That ain't shit. You could have stayed there and make your little smoothies and stuff. Like, you didn't have to come there if you were going to act like this. And so they're kind of like, huh? And so then Kandi's just like, basically like, look, I ain't really expect nothing else from this girl, because she acts like she doesn't have a brain unless her husband's there. Again, we'll get to that in a minute. So, okay. Then Tamika says, well, the current management has a really good relationship with Tasha. I just have a question for the group. Why do y'all keep on getting into bed and doing business with people with great relationships with Tasha? That does not work. And I'm sure at this point they really understand that, but clearly everything involving Tasha is shady business. From her husband to what she did to her sister, stealing her royalties, allegedly. And then now you guys have new management. Why did y'all agree to that? I don't think you guys should have anybody managing you that has personal relationships with any of you four. You need to get someone who is coming from the outside and who it has an objective view on what is going on and no personal relationship with anybody, because they're always going to favor the person who they have the relationship with. So why are y'all doing that? I was actually disappointed to see or to hear that is happening after you guys talked about it in the last show, that Rocky was managing you and it went so bad because obviously, he's the one of the singers in the group is his wife. So to see that you guys went with another manager that is close friends with Tasha is like, that was a mistake. I don't know why you guys did that. But obviously you're recognizing it now because you're bringing it up and you're saying, okay, we need to get new management. And that, that's why Tasha's like, I need to pray about this, which, like, whatever. So then we go to, so Tasha, or excuse me, Kandi says, she says the comment about Tasha not having a brain unless Rocky is kind of like pulling the strings. Then, Bravo's shady. So they pan to Tasha, and Tasha is in a confessional, and she looked beautiful. And they ask her a question. I forget what they ask. And then Tasha's kind of like looking around, and then almost like, what do I say? What do I say? And then you see Rocky come around, and he whispers in her ear. We couldn't hear what he whispered in her ear, and then she kind of like was like, oh, okay. And then they were like, what are you whispering in her ear, Rocky? And then he gonna say, well, I'm telling her what she needs to say. Controlling. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying this is true, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has probably put his hands on her. Controlling. Tasha, you're not intelligent enough to answer questions on your own. You have to get direction for Rocky to answer a simple question in a confessional. So I say all of that to say, Kandi is absolutely right with what she said. She said that you cannot make decisions unless Rocky is there to tell you what to say. And then they show Rocky being there telling you what to say in a moment where you don't know what to say. So I absolutely believe, again, that Rocky has something to do with everything bad that has happened with Xscape. Or everything bad that has involvement with Tasha in it, on decisions that Tasha has made that has negatively affected her group members. I absolutely believe that Rocky has been behind it. Them showing that little tidbit tells me all that I need to know. Because again, I already didn't trust him. The man was working with R. Kelly. That was one thing. So, just from knowing that, and then what has come out recently on the blogs in the last 6 months about him with this alleged mistress, he just doesn't seem like a good person. And then to see that he's feeding you what you need to say in your confessionals, it was disheartening to see that. Again, with every scene and every episode, neither one of you are likable. I hate to say it. And you know what's sad? We love Xscape so much as a group. I hope this doesn't affect them, because I know Tasha's solo thing's not going to work out. So she's going to come back groveling, and they'll do performances again, I'm sure. But I hope this doesn't affect their sales at their concerts, because for me, when I see, I'm going to give it Kelly Price, for example. When she was on R&B Divas, and just to see how nasty her attitude was, it just made me not like her. Anytime I hear a Kelly Price song now, I'm like, ugh, just because of how bad her attitude was. So I hope that does not affect Xscape, because I actually I love Xscape's music, and I love the other three, but I stand for Kandi. I love Kandi, but her sister is just, I think she's dragging down the brand. And I don't even know if she really realizes that, but she's dragging the brand down. We don't like her. It's just like, I don't know. We don't like her. So then, they're all trying to get Tasha to talk about her issues. And Tasha's like, well, I'm not talking about any of this until me and my sister work out what we need to work out. Like, I'm not talking about this stuff. And, Tamika's kind of like, well, I don't even know you anymore. Like, the person that you're becoming, all of this, like, the person that you are, I don't even know you anymore. But you know what, Tamika? You know her. She's always been the same person. I think that you were just going along with it. And now you're sticking up for yourself. And it's changed your view on things. I don't think Tasha has changed at all. I think she's been this same miserable, unlikable person. But I think that your blind loyalty to her, has allowed you to just go along with whatever she has wanted to do. And I think a light bulb has gone off in your head. And now you're kind of like, you know what? you're just seeing things differently. And so she's coming off differently when in fact she has been the same person. You are just improving yourself and changing yourself. And now it's becoming clearer to you. So I just want to say, I don't think that she's changed. I think she is the same person. You are changing. And sometimes in life, when you're becoming better, you got to leave some people behind. And sometimes that's family. And so, after their little back and forth, and Tamika's telling her she doesn't know who she is anymore, and Tasha continues and she refuses to talk about any of the business stuff until she works through it. And then she gets up and then she leaves and she goes to her car and she's upset and she's crying and she's talking to Tiny, and of course Tiny, she's always kind of like the neutral person. I like the fact, I feel like Tiny will speak up for what's right, but I feel like she still manages to, I don't want to say play Switzerland, but I feel like she does a good job with being even keel with everybody. I think that that's a good trait of Tiny's. And then, she leaves she's always leaving without rectifying the situation, whatever. So then we get to Coco and Taj. They're finally getting to go home. And Coco, I think, lives in the Hampton Roads area, which I went to school in that area, went to college in that area. She lives in that area, and then Taj lives with Eddie George, who she's been with forever. They live in Nashville, so they finally get to go home. And then, they show Taj, at home with Eddie, which her and Eddie have been together forever. I love them together. I love that Eddie, you never hear about scandal, him doing anything shady on her. So I love to see that he really, really supports her. And then Taj's son, Eric, he's a senior in high school. And so, they're loving on her and they're telling her how much they miss her. And, she's just kind of reflecting on how appreciative she is that she's able, because she's gone so much, traveling with SWV, and she's just saying that she appreciates that, they both support her and allow her to do that. And then she's just kind of talking about, she misses, it's like she's gone more than she's there. So, her son and Eddie are kind of used to them being gone. So it was cute to kind of see that. And then we see Coco, which I don't know why I have like a little soft spot for Coco. I feel like Coco is similar to a lot of my friends where she has like this hard exterior, but she seems like sweet and funny on the inside. So I like those moments where we see Coco with her mom. And her mom used to sing, which I didn't know. And her mom's so beautiful. And she's at home with her mom and her son. And, she's just kind of talking about, I did not know that she had her oldest son was rapping. And he seems like he's doing really well. So she talks about that. And then she talks about her younger son, who he's so cute. He looks just like her. And she's like, well, I don't really want them to be in the music business. And she's like, well, I wanted him to be a dentist. And he said he wanted to be a dentist. Now he wants to sing. And so, but she, at the same time, she still seems supportive of him wanting to possibly sing. So it's just cute. Again, SWV, they're like all kumbaya. And then Xscape is like, at each other's throats. So, but I do love the moments when we get the softness from Coco, because her exterior is so hardened, but I think that when you probably get to know her, she's probably super sweet. And that's just like the vibe that I get from her. And then she seems super close with her mom. So, that's nice to see as well. And so then we see Kandi. She meets up with her producer. And then DJ A1, which he's hilarious because he does a lot of her speak on it. So I always watch a lot of them. So I like him because whereas, Kandi speaks her mind, but he's like says it how it is. If you trifling, he gonna say it. Especially his reviews on the Housewives last season were hilarious. So she's meeting with them and they're talking, and they played one of her singles, "Only for You," and I kind of like it. Like it had a little nice little beat. Kandi, I hope you said in your speak on it that you're gonna release it, so I hope you do. I actually really like the single. And then Kandi, she's just talking about the fact that, she doesn't have, as much time to be in the studio as she used to. I have always wondered, it's 24 hours in a day. And I've always wondered how Kandi is always busy between the housewives and her businesses. And then she's doing the TV show, not Snowfall, Lord have mercy, The Shy. And then she's filming Housewives and SWV. Then she's on tour. Then she's doing the play. I'm like, how does this woman, now if there's any businesswoman who I admire and would love to replicate her, and I think that's why I like Kandi so much, because number one, Kandi is just real. You never see her. She's not going to undercut nobody. She treats everybody with respect until you cross her. She's business minded, and there's so much to learn from her. Like, for real, if Tasha was smart, Tasha would get with Kandi, and because Kandi, even with everything that's happened, I bet you that if Tasha came and spoke to her, get game from Kandi. Have Kandi show you what she's doing. Because, just side note, it is so evident, Tasha, that you're jealous of Kandi. You're mad. I think you're mad because your solo career didn't pop off in 1998. And then you're upset because your album never came out. And then Kandi, she did have a solo album where, again, I love Kandi. I don't necessarily want solo music from her, although I do like that song you played. But Kandi was able to rebound and come up stronger and stronger and stronger. And Candy's popping. And I think you're mad. You know what? I think that really is the root of all of this, that you're mad because you are never going to be where Kandi is or accomplish the things that Kandi has been able to accomplish. And you're upset. And I think that's sad. And instead of like getting with Kandi and having her put you on game, it's like you're trashing her name and trying to reverse role this like Kandi is jealous of you about you supposedly like singing lead more than her, when Kandi, I think, probably has actually sung lead more than you have. I think that, Tasha, you have such a powerful voice that we remember your voice more than hers on certain songs, but that when you really break it down and think about it and listen to the songs, Kandi has actually sung lead more than you, or at least equal to you. So I don't know why she would be jealous of that. But for real, I think that Tasha, beyond the things that are going on with her sister, I think she's actually jealous of Kandi, because for real, Kandi has had nothing to do with any of your issues this season, but you still managed to keep bringing her up. It's like, what did Kandi's like, well, how I get in it? Like, what did I do? How did I manage to get into any of this? Kandi's like, I've been quiet and minding my business this entire season or whatever. And Kandi seems like she has actively been trying to stay out of any drama with you and your sister. So why you keep bringing her up? I don't get it. Kandi has said nothing. She has made it clear, look, we have never gotten along. So what is that? There's no difference in then to now. Like, we have never gotten along, and we've managed to continue to do what we need to do and do bang these shows out. So why are you bringing her up? So, it goes to, Tasha's talking to Rocky, and they're eating dinner at their house, and damn, they've been married 27 years. They were celebrating their 27th anniversary. And if I didn't dislike y'all so much, I would tell you congrats, but I just don't like either one of you. So we'll go past that. So, they're just talking about, I think Rocky asked her, like, what do you think the problem is? And like, first of all, like, they didn't plan this scene out before it happened. We're not even gonna act like that. They probably planned that entire scene out before they had that little week dinner that they were eating. But anyway, and she's just like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just think that it's because, Kandi had such an issue with the fact that I was singing lead and all of this. And it's like, girl, Kandi, why? You are the small fish. Kandi has nothing to be jealous of you. And like she has said, things in Xscape may not have gone the way she wanted them to go back in the day. But look, everything happens for a reason. Look at her career. Again, Kandi is the most popping housewife, period. And I'm not even talking about money, just with the accolades, and she's able to give back, and she has successful restaurants, and she's able to help people to be as successful as she is. She's put her kids on. She got her husband, he's popping. Like, girl, you can never compare. So I need you to stop with the narrative, because we know the truth. We're not on board with this narrative of Kandi is jealous of me. So I hope that she stops that. You know, and then, you know, Todd, I love Todd, by the way, because he's like so nice, nasty, and he's like, I love people that could be shady, and they don't have to raise their voice. They don't have to do anything. Even though, you know, we've seen Todd shade the hell out of Marlo. He never raised his voice. He just stated the facts and then, you know, kept it moving. So I love Todd, but he says that he's like, you know, I think that her career didn't happen and she's mad at you. And it's unfortunate, you know. And that's not Kandi's fault. You made decisions back in the day where you wanted to try to go solo and it didn't work. So why are you mad at her? So again, I really think that, and it probably will never change, but, and I don't think Kandi cares. I think she's at the point where, like, look, let's get this money. Like, I don't care nothing about whatever. We don't have to be friends. Kandi has lots of friends. I don't need you as a friend, whatever. Let's just respect each other and get this money. All right, so then Tasha and Rocky go to Nashville. You guys, every time they talk about Tasha's solo career, I'm going to be annoyed. But whatever. For the sake of this review, they meet, what is it, Motown South? Or it's some, I think it's Motown. It's one of the Motown subsidiaries of Motown that I believe she's meeting with in Nashville for this proposed solo career that we're not looking for. But anyway, she's sitting with the record execs and they're talking, you know, about, you know, kind of what the expectations are of her from the label. You know, they're kind of like, well, what makes you want to go solo? You know, what is it? I think she says something along the lines where I think that I have a unique story that I would like to tell outside of, you know, my group members. I want to kind of do this alone. And then the record executive asks, he says, well, do they know that you are like meeting with us? So they know about your solo plans? And she's like, no, I haven't told them. And then Rocky, he's like, you didn't? I thought you told them. I almost said the N-word. Rocky, like, you told her not to tell them, probably. You probably are the one with like, look, shh, don't say nothing, because, you know, if they know, then this might happen, or they may feel this way. You probably told her don't say anything. Stop acting like you didn't know. You knew that she didn't tell them. You know she did not tell them that she was going to meet with this record label. So anyway, and then you know, they're having some little fluff talk, and then the record exec, he asks, you know, if he can hear Tasha sing, and she sings. And again, Tasha, you have a beautiful voice. You can definitely sing. So she blow. We know, like you, Coco, like for real, all of y'all can sing. So she sings, and she sounds beautiful, but we still don't want to hear your music. Like, we don't. So anyway, so then whatever, you know, that kind of, you know, ends the show. And I will say this. First of all, I'm sad they're only doing 6 episodes, because I feel like they have so much more to tell. Hopefully there will be a season 3 of the Xscape, you know, make a trilogy out of it, because I want to see more. I think that both of these episodes have been stellar, and I think that it's going to really start getting good, like when SWV and Xscape start getting into it about like who should be first. And well, you know, Coco already said, like, I sold 30 million records against y'all little 8 million records, like, get out of here. But then there's an argument to be made that, look, I mean, Kandi and Tiny are more relevant than y'all. I mean, maybe not the whole group, but like, I feel like where Kandi is as far as star power, I don't know. That is a little debate about, you know, I have my opinions on whose music I love more, and I'm sure, you know, again, as we get closer to when that conversation comes up, I'll state my opinion. But I think that this is going to be a great series. So yeah, I enjoyed this episode. It was some moments of the episode that made me sad. I do not enjoy seeing Tamika and her mom and the different problems that they have and the different favoritism. That makes me really sad. So I hope as we go on, and I'm sure we'll find out that they're able to work through that stuff. But it was good. It was a good episode. So I hope you guys enjoy my review. And again, next Monday I'll be back after I review episode 3. So you guys have a good week. Thanks for tuning in.